I think the only thing I'd like to say at the start is, given where we started and where we are today, I think that these players and their teammates have a lot to be proud of, what we got, what we're doing. We just play a unbelievably great team, and hats off to them for being as good as they are. You can see the experience that they have, and I know Kristi said it to somebody the other day. This is a team that's learned to play together, and they have great players, and they've figured it out, and they have poise. We have taken our first step, and hopefully the next step will be a big leap too. And a year from now, we're figuring out how to get farther in this. I'm proud of them. They did a lot of great things, and they have nothing to be ashamed about. We ran into a great team, and they shot well, and we've struggled, and that's partly because of their defense. Questions?
Coach, if there was one thing that you can take away from the entire season, a positive that you want to take into next year, what would that be?
Wow, it would be more than one thing. I think that this group has committed to the growth process. I think that's, it's frustrating at times because you have players who have won in different situations. These guys have been in the finals. Their teammates, for the most part, have not. So they probably have a clearer picture than the rest of them of what it looks like to be there. That's the education process that we're going through. So I would say if I took anything away, what I just told them is learn from what you just went through. Find the things that you need to do to make us better, and devote your off season to that, because we have a chance to keep getting better. We have things we still need to do, maybe a move to make, this or that. You got a draft, but that's for further topics of discussion. Right now, this is. I don't know, I'm a long-winded answer to a question I don't have a simple answer to. So, be proud of what they've done.
Elena, Kristi, for both of you, this has been a multi-year process, and you guys came here with that expectation. Do you guys think you have a better sense of how you get from here to there, and do you think that next year it is within your grasp?
Yeah. I'd take the same team we have right now next year. I think this is a great group, and I think we've learned throughout the journey in the course of the season a lot of things about ourselves and what we want. And the adversity that we face together as a team will only help us in the long run. And when you're matched up against a team like Minnesota, that's the kind of team that sets the bar, and we got to play against the bar, And so I think we've learned a lot. I think we know what winners look like and how they play and how they act and how it feels. And I think it's great that we were able, as a group, to witness that and compete against that and know we're close. So, Kelly?
Yeah, exactly what. Yeah, we feel pretty good as to where we are and as to what we've had to go through this season. I think one of the biggest things you see with this team is just never allowing to make excuses for one another, whether it be an injury, just not having everyone in practice together because of these injuries, whether it be Emma having to leave for a month. This team never made that excuse and let that get into our heads. They just continued to fight and believe that we belong and that we're just going to improve, and there's no other option. So you got to love that about this group.
Mike, you said you wanted to see growth from game to game within this series. Now that it's over, how do you, view that trend? And do you see things today that you wish had been a little bit better that you could have carried over from game 2?
Yeah, there's probably some specifics I don't really want to talk about out loud because they're kind of within the team things that we talk about within our team, individual things. But I would say, there were about 2 or 3 points in this game, and I'll take away maybe the last one doesn't count when they finally finished us off. But there were about 2 or 3 instances in this game where it could have gone south fast, and all of a sudden you know, you turn around and we're back to within 2 or 4, and you know, we stay in the game. So I think that, you know, from that standpoint, there's a resilience, as these guys refer to, about us. I'd have to sit down and really look at this game more carefully on tape before I can just make, you know, kind of like what we did better than the other day. I mean, we didn't win any of them, so I don't know what you say, you know, we did better other than, you know, I guess it didn't seem like it because we held them to less points, but, you know, when a team shoots 50% against you, it's hard to say that you got better, but we got blitzed in game 1. So we made game 2 and game 3 games where Minnesota had to win the game, not be handed to them. They had to win against us today.
Coach, yesterday we were talking about Tara from Pratt, and you mentioned that she'd been playing in pain, and I don't know if you want to elaborate on what she's been going through.
I don't.
But well, she had a phenomenal game tonight, and what do you see from her going forward, and where can she go from here?
Well, I mean, you've seen a player who is, you know, as Elena referred to, and I think Kristi did in one of our other interviews, that she's got what you need as far as grit. She sets an example about how hard you're supposed to compete every day. And, you know, what she played through physically in this series is pretty incredible. And, you know, literally having a hard time, you know, standing upright the other day. So she just competes, and I think that, you know, the more of those players you have on your team that compete every day, the more you give yourself a chance. And I think that's what we see from her every day. She's not afraid of a challenge.
Elena, I don't know if it was you talking in the mid-court huddle at the end of the game, but if it was, what did you want to leave this team with?
Just, I mean, first of all, how proud I am of the fight that we've shown throughout the season, and how much I love this team. It's been one heck of a year, and we truly enjoy being around one another. And it's an infectious environment, and that's all you can ask for. And I think you can only build when you've got a group like that. So just talking about, you know, everybody have a good off season, but remember this taste, and sometimes you got to go through these growing pains. You know, you can't just fake experience. You really have to live it and get it, and that's what we got.
Kristi, Coach talked a little bit about some work to be done in the offseason. You talked about bringing the same group back, and I wonder, you know, you've been to the mountaintop, so do you think that continuity is the single biggest addition this team needed and will now have going into next year?
I mean, it helps. I mean, certainly if you can keep a core together, like Minnesota has, it's a perfect example. You know, every year there's always changes to rosters. It's just the reality of our sport. All I meant by that is I have 100% confidence in this team, and we have enough to make, you know, serious noise in this league. And so I just want those guys in the locker room to know that we're proud of who we are and where we've come, and I wouldn't choose Minnesota or LA or Phoenix over those people in the locker room any day of the week.
Can I add something to that? The other part of that is, you know, I don't find myself after games being very emotional. I walked into the locker room, and a lot of teams, when you go through a struggle, are kind of glad to get away from it at the end. Sometimes when you're down 0-2 in a series, you feel like you have a teammate or two with their foot out the door. I never felt that about this team. And I don't think this team wanted to quit playing. And unfortunately, we do, but I don't think anybody in that room wanted to quit playing. So.
Elena, I guess I'm curious if maybe we thought, or maybe some people thought, that putting together kind of a high-power team the way you guys did would be easier in the first year, that it would go smoother in the first year. So I guess I'm curious if you expected this, or if this season kind of met your expectations when you came here with this roster.
I think we did pretty damn well what was thrown our way. There were so many things this season where we could have just thrown in the towel and said, you know what, next year we'll work on it. We've had just too much adversity and we can't get through it. And that's exactly the opposite of what this team did. We just continued to fight and know that we can get better, we can improve. We can just work on things and get there and never give up and play with grit every single time we touch the court. So, I mean, I think this team did one heck of a job with what we had to face this season.
All right, everyone, the 6 o'clock is open.